Court documents and sworn affidavits show how the justice system failed 17-year-old Lamonte McIntyre. Two men in a Cadillac were shot dead in broad daylight in Kansas City, Can, on April 15, 1994. Court documents and sworn affidavits show how an innocent 17-year-old, Lamonte McIntyre, was convicted for the double murder and sentenced to life. A lot went wrong. Solving a case requires an open mind. Police detectives identify suspects based on interviews and other evidence. Rosie McIntyre, Lamonte's mother. The detective may have had a revenge motive. Years before the murders, Lamonte's mother says, the detective, Roger Golubski, forced her to submit to oral, threatening to arrest her boyfriend if she refused. Afterward, she rebuffed his advances, finally moving and changing her number. Detectives keep their distance from sources. They are supposed to be unbiased and to avoid working cases to which they have personal ties. Roger Golubski, a former Kansas City, Can, police detective. 8 women, some of whom were witnesses or informants, have come forward to say that the detective extorted UAL favors. Some said he would threaten to arrest them if they refused. In the double homicide, he had an ongoing relationship with a key eyewitness but did not question her about the case. Last week, the district attorney asked the Kansas Bureau of Investigation to examine the role Golubski, now retired, played in Lamonte's conviction. Don't put close relatives in a photo lineup. Witnesses are sometimes shown a set of photographs, including one of the suspect. All the subjects should fit the suspect's description, but not be so alike that it could lead to a false identification. Lamonte McIntyre, the accused Terrence Terrell Brown, Lamonte's cousin James McIntyre, Lamonte's brother Lamonte McIntyre, the accused Terrence Terrell Brown, Lamonte's cousin James McIntyre, Lamonte's brother Lamonte McIntyre, the accused Terrence Terrell Brown, Lamonte's cousin James McIntyre, Lamonte's brother Lamonte McIntyre, the accused Terrence Terrell Brown, Lamonte's cousin James McIntyre, Lamonte's brother. The lineup was stacked. A witness said she had recognized the gunman as a man named Lamonte who had dated her niece. The police file says she was then shown photos of different Lamontes. But the 5-person lineup included only one, Lamonte McIntyre, who was not the niece's ex. It also included Lamonte's brother and cousin, increasing the chances that a member of the McIntyre family would be picked. There's no such thing as too much evidence. Investigators seize as much as they can that could connect the suspect to the crime. Finding the murder weapon is a top priority. The Cadillac DeVille where 2 men were murdered in 1994. Police did not collect or analyze key evidence. The police gathered shell casings, but did not dust them for fingerprints. They took samples of broken glass and blood from the crime scene but did not collect, much less test, Lamonte's clothing or shoes, a likely source of trace evidence for comparison. They did not search his house. The gun was never found. Judges avoid even the appearance of impropriety. They have enormous power to sway the proceedings, and are supposed to be impartial and fair. The judge and prosecutor had a previous love affair. They did not disclose their prior relationship to the defense. The prosecutor, Tara Moorhead, is now an assistant U.S. attorney. The judge, J. Dexter Burdett, is still on the bench. Witnesses are expected to tell the truth. They are not threatened or coerced into lying. A witness recanted. 2 witnesses identified Lamonte at trial. One has said for decades that when she saw Lamonte in the courtroom, she reported that he was the wrong man. But the prosecutor, she says, threatened to have her jailed and her children taken away if she did not testify. The second witness, who had identified Lamonte in the photo lineup, contradicted her earlier statements on the stand. Lawyers act in their client's best interest. Poor defendants in criminal cases are not entitled to a great court-appointed lawyer, but they are entitled to an effective one. The standard is subjective, but generally it means the lawyer covers basics like interviewing key witnesses. 2 of Lamonte's lawyers were later disbarred. During the trial, Lamonte's first lawyer, Gary W. Long, II, was on probation in state court and had been suspended in federal court. He never interviewed a crucial witness who later said she could identify the real killer. A few years later, Long was disbarred for incompetence, though he has since regained his license. After the trial, Lamonte was given a second lawyer, Mark J. Sasha, to contest his conviction. Sasha never met Lamonte and called no witnesses. After numerous complaints from clients, he was also disbarred. Lamonte before his release from prison. 8 years ago, a lawyer named Cheryl Pilot joined forces with Centurion Ministries, a group devoted to clearing the innocent, to investigate Lamonte's case. Last month, his conviction in Kansas court was overturned and he was released. The real culprit may have gone on to kill again, Pilot says. The evidence points to a man who is now in prison for a later homicide. In 32 states, the government compensates innocent people for the time they spent in prison. Kansas is not one of them.